This is the Crowdcrux Crowdfunding Podcast with Sal Briggman, where we cover everything you need to know to launch a successful crowdfunding campaign. We speak with proven entrepreneurs who've raised money from the crowd and want to teach you how to do the same. Stay tuned because we're about to reveal how to launch your dream project. With your host, Sal Briggman.
Before we get started with this podcast episode, I want to take a second to introduce you to my friends at FulfillRight. If you need help shipping out your Kickstarter or Indiegogo perks or rewards, FulfillRight is the absolute best company for you. I've been working with them for a while and I can vouch for their services. They make it dead simple and take all of the headache out of shipping out all of those boxes, all of those orders to your backers and your customers. If you want to check them out, go to fulfillright.com at FULFILLRITE.com. What up? Salvador Briggman here with the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast, also crowdcrux.com and the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. How you doing? My past few weeks have been crazy to say the least. So basically, I spilled water on my laptop and it was out of service for like a week and a bunch of other stuff just going on. So I've been having to use my iPad to write articles and do all of these different things and edit, etc. So it's been a really interesting past week. But now I finally have it. It's up and running and it's working. Everything's fine. Thank God. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different than some of the other podcasts that I put out. And I want to try this and sort of see what you guys think. So if you do have any thoughts, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at @sbrigman. Shoot me a tweet there. But today, I'm actually going to be repurposing a YouTube video that I put out that has over 1,000 views that people have said is really helpful. And I want to make sure that everyone has access to this information. So this podcast is basically going to be the audio of this YouTube video, and it's all about Indiegogo campaign video tips. So this is information that you need to know if you want to create an effective Indiegogo or Kickstarter pitch video. And I've had some comments on this YouTube video like, very helpful. Thank you, Salvador, from Ulrike. Don't know if I pronounced that right. From Ricardo, hey Sal, awesome tips, very useful step-by-step guide. Yes, I want to say so much that I couldn't get my lengthy video to be below 5 minutes. Just launched my campaign, and then it just goes on. And have just a lot of other really good comments. This video really helped me to envision my bio more. Thanks, Salvador. Excellent video. What if I don't have a particular product? Goes into some questions. So this video is going to sort of get you up and running if you don't know how to put together a effective crowdfunding campaign video pitch. This is the podcast for you. I also invite you to go into my archives with some of the other interviews that I've conducted on this podcast. We're going to go back to an interview style show next week. I'm going to be having a lot more of these coming up. As I now have my laptop and also removing myself from the bottleneck. So now my part-timer is going to start scheduling these interviews. So it's going to be a lot more regular, the interviews that I have with successful crowdfunding campaigners. So these are just some of the updates in my life. Would love to hear from you. Tweet me at @sbrigman. And without further ado, let's get into today's podcast episode. The first misconception that I see among Indiegogo campaign creators, among crowdfunders at large, is that they don't tell a story. And it's so frustrating to me because I am talking with campaign creators, I'm watching their videos, the people that I help, and you start to tune out. But stories are so different than what's out there, just rationality or talking about the features of your product. What a story does is it really invites people into your world. It allows them to connect with you. It allows them to understand your journey to discovering this solution, this great solution that you've made to this problem that you experienced or that someone else experienced. And you know what it does? It maintains attention. Story builds anticipation. It makes people want to figure out what happened next. So story is an amazing element to include in your Indiegogo campaign pitch. And that story should highlight your values. It's going to highlight the actual solution. And it's also going to just enable people to feel like they know who you are. They know a little bit about you. They have a vibe, a sense of what it is has been happening in your life, and like why this solution came into your mind. To give you an example, like here's my phone. This is an iPhone, I think it's 6S Plus. It's definitely one of the bigger phones out there. Whenever I pull this out, I'm at like a networking event or at a bar or something like that, I always get like chuckles because it literally is like a brick. Like I'm one of those people that has a phone that's like a brick. And I also have this Mophie charging device. This Mophie thing, it allows, it keeps my charge. It's like literally like double my battery life. And I use my phone a lot, to be honest, not just to film, but also to do my work, like emails when I'm not on my computer, writing and such like that. I'll use my phone a lot. So that little simple fact brings you a bit into my world. And let's just talk about a product like Mophie. It's really easy to get bogged down in the technical specs of a Mophie phone charging case. Like, how much is it gonna increase your battery life? How much does it weigh? What is the actual size and dimensions of this? But really what people are interested in, that this product, which does X, Y, and Z, allows you to do this. I have a Mophie device so that when I'm out at a networking event, at a bar in New York City, I don't have to worry about my charge lasting. I have a Mophie phone case so that when I'm out with my friends at a restaurant and I see my battery life dwindling, I don't have to get anxious. I don't have to start looking for a charging outlet. I don't have to get out of the present moment, stop having a good time, and be super worried that I'm not gonna be able to get home very easily, or not gonna be able to check, subway schedules, or communicate and meet up with my other friends. That's what really the product of Mophie does for you. It eliminates anxiety. It has X, Y, and Z so that you can do this, or so that you don't have to worry about this. And that's really, I think, the way that your product should be positioned on Indiegogo. And this isn't just me, like I've talked with many, many successful campaign creators who also feel the same way. It should not be about technical specs, it should be about the story and also what you can do, the features and the benefits of the product. And that brings me into my second point here, which is, this is a little bit more on the technical side. But I get a lot of questions about how do you actually make a high quality video? And not just like, how do I like hire a film crew? Like that's gonna be really expensive. How do you do it on the cheap? How do you do it in such a way that it's a very low budget solution? That's what I'm gonna get into right now. And I'm not obviously, the most professional when it comes to this. I'm not an expert. While I have had experts on the podcast talking about video tips and ways to improve, I'm just gonna give you a few ways that you can improve. Okay, so first of all, you'll notice with this YouTube video that I'm right in front of a window here and there's lighting coming at my face. If this camera was positioned over here, there would be shadows coming all on my face and it really would look as though more morose, more sorrowful. It'd be hard to discern my facial features. It'd be hard to see that I'm smiling, that I'm excited, that it's just hard to pick up me and to pick up, get a sense for who I am. And you even look at like movies and such, oftentimes to communicate an emotion, the director will have half of your face like shadowed, or even the entire face in shadows to communicate like mysteriousness, or that this person can't be trusted, or it just doesn't seem straightforward and honest. And that's exactly, you don't want to seem you don't want to seem mysterious and like sorrowful and not trustworthy if you're doing a campaign pitch. So very simple tip, make sure that you buy good lighting. Obviously, natural lighting is the best, but even just a light in general is gonna come across a lot better than if your face is masked in shadows. The other tip here, and this is something that I've had to learn doing my podcast. I'm very fortunate to have learned this now, but when I was first starting my podcast, which now has, I don't know, like over 100 episodes, over 100 reviews in iTunes, like a lot of good feedback. I had to interrupt this podcast episode because I want to introduce you to my friends at the Gadget Flo. Their product discovery platform reaches 22 million people per month. They've helped more than 5,000 crowdfunding campaigns thus far, and they have a social media following of more than 700,000 followers. If you want to gain access to their marketplace and list your own product, you can go to thegadgetflow.com/submit and list your project today. I was very low talking. Like, I was very robotic. I was very no emotion in my voice. And what I learned is so much of how people feel about a product or a person comes from their body language, their facial features, their facial muscles. Like, am I smiling? That means I'm excited or happy about something. And also my tone of voice. So when you're giving a pitch, and I know that this might seem simple, but I come across many campaign videos where there's a disconnect between the actual emotions you're communicating versus what you want to communicate. So like, maybe you have a great product, but if you come across like, yeah guys, this is a really good campaign, this is really good product, I like it, it's you can do X, Y, and Z, and I would really appreciate your support in helping this. How does that come across? That comes across as not confident. And the person then assumes if you're not confident in your product, there must be something wrong with it. Or they want you to do something. They want to extract value from you. But if I come across as, this is like an insane product, like I am so pumped to be able to share this with you guys. It's really something where I myself wish I had this when I encountered the problem, and I'm really just trying to share this. I would love it for blah, blah, blah. You're coming across in such a way that you're more enthusiastic, and you should be. Like, I'm not talking about like, being manipulative in any way. If you genuinely put in all that hard work to make a great product, you need to communicate that. You can't just expect that people are gonna assume that. So being aware of your facial muscles, of the lighting, of your body language, and also the tone of your voice is gonna do wonders for improving your Indiegogo campaign pitch. And it's also gonna make people tune in much more when you communicate with that level of emotion rather than logic, and very just thinking that people are only paying attention to what you say and not how you say it. And the last bit here that I want to include, obviously an Indiegogo campaign should be like, I'd say 3 to 4 minutes, but there are some tools out there that can also help you. I use iMovie to edit all of my videos. I also use Canva a lot. Canva is a tool online that lets you create like Instagram posts, video thumbnails. It does a lot of the design work for you. I really recommend checking that out, and it's also free. And I also use the tool Pixlr as like a Photoshop supplement, because I don't have Photoshop, so it's a free tool to be able to do some image editing and that kind of stuff. But those are the main points that I want to hone in on with technicality. I will say one more thing though, and that is, this again is tied back to emotion. When you hear certain sounds or you hear certain music, it makes you feel a certain way. And you attach those feelings to both characters and people. And you attach those things also to stories and to products. So think about that as you're putting together your campaign video, not just having, you talking here, but a B-roll where you're flashing to the product or you're showing someone using it. What kind of music can you overlay there to make someone feel the right way about the product? And usually that's going to be like upbeat, that's going to be happy kind of music or inspiring. Unless you are like doing some kind of a scary film, you're in that case, you might have like scary, music and that kind of stuff to get people in that mood. But think about the music that you're including in the video. It's, again, another way to make people tune in emotionally to what you're doing, and it's another way to capture attention. The last thing that I'm sharing here, and this is probably the most important. This is the most important because it's going to influence the amount of people who take action, who actually, after consuming this video, do something about it. They're gonna back your campaign. They're gonna share it on Facebook. They're gonna, learn more about what it is you're doing. And that is the call to action. The call to action, it's so important. And my call to action for you, for example, is if you found these tips to be helpful, if you think that this is a helpful YouTube video, if I'm sharing good advice, if these free tools that I've mentioned, you check them out and you find them to be helpful, give me a thumbs up on this video. That way other people that come to the video know they're not wasting their time. Like this is actually something where if you watch these 10 minutes, they're gonna get something out of it. Give me a thumbs up, and if you want more videos like this, come subscribe. That's my call to action for you. But for other people out there, I think that it's most important that you direct their action in some way after they consume your Indiegogo campaign video. And that should be to check out a specific reward tier which has some cool perks, some cool rewards, to become a part of your community, of the community of backers, of the community of people that are supporting you. That's to me the most general call to actions, but you might have one that's more specific for your video. And the reason it's so important is because you're at that moment where the music has influenced them, where your story has influenced them, where you have influenced them. They feel like they know you, they have a sense of who you are. They're in the most suggestive state possible, where they have input, all these inputs have come in, and now they're actually open to something, to you suggesting something. Whereas if you just tried to do that at the beginning of the video, it would come off as really like me focused, and it would really have low conversions. So make sure when they finish the video, there's a call to action. I hope these tips have been helpful. I'll include also a link to a few other techniques for really influencing people, not just on Indiegogo or Kickstarter, but also online.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. If you liked it, if you got something out of it, take a second to hit that subscribe button on the iTunes podcast app. And in addition, if you'd like to view some of the YouTube videos I have out there on Kickstarter, on Indiegogo, on raising funds and marketing, etc., go and check out my YouTube channel. So my YouTube channel is youtube.com/crowdcrux. That is youtube.com/crowdcrux. You can check out all my videos there. You can hit subscribe if you want emails when I come out with new videos. And I think I have 20, maybe 25 videos out there on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So there's a lot of good information there on my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me on this episode, and I'll see you next time.